I didn't think twice when the doctor told me I needed surgery. It wasn't anything crazy, just a hernia that had gotten worse over time. Painful, yeah, but fixable. I scheduled it for a Friday, figured I'd take a week off work, rest, and be back to normal in no time. The whole week before the surgery, my wife Tara was acting a little off. Nothing too wild, just a bit distracted. I figured it was just stress from work. She's a graphic designer and sometimes juggles too many clients. She'd been pulling long hours, taking calls late at night in the guest room, and saying things like, just trying to meet this deadline. I didn't push it. I trusted her. We'd been married 4 years. We had a decent routine, even if it had gotten kind of boring. We weren't fighting, Lace, and I always thought we were solid. The night before my surgery, she barely touched her dinner. I made spaghetti and meatballs, her favorite. She said her stomach hurt. I told her I was nervous about the surgery, and she gave me a quick hug, told me everything would be fine. Then she went back to her laptop and worked until midnight. She didn't sleep in our bed that night. She said she didn't want to toss and turn and keep me up before my procedure. I believed her. The next morning, she drove me to the hospital. No kiss before I went into the OR, just a text me when you're done. I was a little weirded out by that, but again, I gave her the benefit of the doubt. Surgery took longer than expected. I was out for a few hours. When I came to, the nurse said, "Your wife stepped out for a bit, but she'll be back soon." I asked when she left. Nurse said she was only there for the first 30 minutes after I got rolled in. That didn't sit right. I texted her when I could move my hands again. No answer. 2 hours passed, then 3. Still nothing. Around 6 p.m., I got a simple reply. "Sorry, got caught up with something. You good? No, I love you. No, how are you feeling?" Just that. I typed back, "Yeah," and left it there. I was more confused than anything, thought maybe something urgent had come up with her work or maybe her mom. Later that night, she didn't show up at the hospital. Said she was exhausted and would visit me the next morning. The hospital wasn't strict with visitors, and I had my own room. She just didn't come. I laid there with tubes in my arm, a sore gut, and a weird feeling I couldn't shake. I couldn't sleep. So I did something I'd never done before. I checked our shared iPad. She forgot to log out of her messages. It synced everything. Every single text. That's when I saw it. A name I didn't recognize. Dylan. The messages weren't long, but they were clear. Very clear. "Can't wait till he's out. I'll head over soon. You left your shirt here, lol." God, I needed that. And the one that made me sit up even though I wasn't supposed to. "While he's in surgery, guess who's in your bed?" I didn't breathe for a while. Just stared at the screen like it was a movie and I was waiting for the twist ending, but there was no twist. Just more of the same. Pictures. Him shirtless, her in our bathroom mirror, wearing that black tank top she told me she threw out last year because it didn't fit. She lied about that too. The timestamps lined up. The moment I was being put under anesthesia, she was texting him from the hospital parking lot. Half an hour later, she was already sending him laughing emojis and saying she was on her way. I was in pain, drugged up, stitched, and alone, and she was letting another man into our home, into our bedroom, onto our bed. I didn't cry. I didn't scream. I just sat there in that hospital bed, breathing slow, reading every word, every picture, every ha-ha, and "I miss you." The worst part, this wasn't the first time. I scrolled up. Messages went back weeks. Some even during dinner when she told me she was just replying to a client. There were a few moments where I remembered seeing her smirk at her phone and not thinking much of it. I remembered when she said she was going to a girls' night and came back with messy hair and no explanation. All the signs were there and I missed every single one. I screenshotted everything, sent it all to my own email. Then I sat in silence, phone in my hand, waiting for the meds to knock me out again. I couldn't even look at her contact picture without feeling sick. Next morning, she walked into the hospital room like nothing happened, wearing leggings and a hoodie, holding a smoothie like she cared. She kissed my forehead, asked me how I slept. I looked her straight in the eye and said, "How was Dylan?" Her face went pale. She froze mid-sip. She tried to play dumb. "What are you talking about?" I pulled the iPad from under the blanket, opened the messages, and held it up. She didn't say a word, just stared. "You were screwing him while I was on an operating table." I said, "I saw everything." She finally said, "It's not what it looks like." I actually laughed. So you didn't leave the hospital to go sleep with another guy in our bed while I was getting cut open? She looked around like she expected a nurse to come save her. Nobody came. She said, "Can we talk about this later?" "No," I said. "We're done talking. You can leave now." She tried to argue, but I picked up the nurse call button and said, "Either you go or I call someone to take you out." She left. After she left the hospital room, everything just slowed down. The heart monitor beeped steady and calm, but my mind wasn't. I laid there wondering how I could have been so blind. 4 years of marriage and she threw it all away like it was nothing. While I was getting fixed up, she was breaking everything we had. The nurse came in an hour later to check my vitals. She asked if I wanted visitors again. I said no. No friends, no family. Just let me be. I needed time to think. That night, I couldn't sleep again. Pain meds helped with the physical stuff, but inside, it felt like I got gutted twice, once by the surgeon and again by her. The next morning, I got discharged earlier than expected. The hospital asked if someone was coming to pick me up. I told them no, I'd figure it out. I called a rideshare, got dropped at my place. It was quiet when I walked in. I used my spare key, not knowing if she had changed the locks already or if Dylan was still inside. I braced myself, but the house was empty. I limped to the bedroom. The sheets were changed, the bed made. Too perfect. Like she'd tried to clean up the mess with clean linens. I saw one of his socks halfway under the dresser. She missed that. I took a deep breath, sat on the edge of the bed I used to share with her, and did what I knew I had to. I texted her. "Me, I'm home. Come get your stuff." She didn't reply right away, but 10 minutes later, I heard a car pull into the driveway. She walked in, not saying a word. Hoodie again, hair in a bun. Avoided eye contact. I watched her walk straight to the closet and start packing. I didn't help. I didn't yell. I didn't even move. After a few minutes, she mumbled, "Are you going to say anything?" I answered, "Not sure there's anything left to say." She paused, then said, "I made a mistake." I almost laughed again, but I didn't have the energy. I said, "Nah, a mistake is burning toast. You made a choice." Then she dropped a line I didn't expect. I broke it off with him. I looked at her, eyebrows raised. "You think that matters now?" She just shrugged, like she was hoping that would soften the blow, like cutting him off would erase what she did. "I didn't mean for this to happen," she added. I shook my head. "You meant every text, every visit, every lie." She looked down. I was feeling alone. That hit me. Not because it justified anything, but because I realized how far apart we drifted without even noticing. But still, cheating wasn't a solution. That was a betrayal. She finished packing in silence, then said, "Where do we go from here?" I said, There's no we anymore." She nodded like she already knew that. Then she left. And here's where the twist comes in. That afternoon, I got a message from a number I didn't recognize. Unknown. "Hey, I'm Dylan's ex. I think we need to talk." My first thought was, what the hell? But curiosity won. I asked how she got my number. She said she found me through a mutual contact. Apparently, Dylan had a girlfriend the entire time he was hooking up with Tara, and she had just found out the same day I did. She'd seen my email. Tara accidentally forwarded the screenshots to her too. Total mess. We ended up talking for over an hour. Her name was Elise. She'd been with Dylan for 2 years, lived with him. She said she had a weird feeling for weeks, but didn't know who the other woman was until the messages popped up. What made it worse? Tara wasn't the only one. Dylan had a whole folder in his phone with chats from different women. Elise found it all while snooping the night before. I couldn't believe it. Tara had risked our marriage, our home, everything, for a guy who didn't even care about her. She was just one of many. Elise told me, "I'm done with him too. Just thought you should know. You didn't deserve any of this." That night, I sat alone in the house, not broken, but clearer. Like the shock had finally worn off and I could breathe again. I started planning my next move. I called a lawyer the next morning and got the divorce process rolling. I wasn't wasting another second being legally tied to someone who could betray me that easily. 2 weeks later, Tara tried to reach out again, texted me late one night, "Can we talk?" I didn't answer. The next day, I got another message, "I miss you." Still nothing. Then a third, "I messed up, please, just one chance." I finally replied, "Tell Dylan I said hi." Blocked her after that.